Show, Jimmy Fallon. No, Jimmy, we can't hear you.
Famous studio tour. I know what you're thinking. Why the tux? Well, we're celebrating our 60th anniversary. That's right, 60 years of glitz, glamour, and our own great white shark. As we celebrate our diamond anniversary today, we'll pay tribute to Universal's past and take you behind the scenes to discover why this studio tour is world famous. So whether this is your first visit or your 60th, get ready for fun, excitement, and an experience like no other.
Thanks, Jimmy. Now on March 15th, 1915, our founder Carl Laemmle invited the public into the studio to watch silent movies being made. Guests could walk from set to set and marvel at the new technology involved in filmmaking. With the invention of sound and the need for quiet on the set, the original walking tour ended. In the 1960s, under the leadership of company chairman Lou Wasserman and executives Al Dorskin and Jay Stein, the idea of reviving a tour of the studio returned when the Gray Line bus tours originating in Hollywood made a stop at our gates. And on July 15th, 1964, the first of our red and white candy-striped glamour trams took 67 passengers on a 2-hour driving tour of the studio. And from there, the world-famous Universal Studios tour was born. We started with 2 drivers, 2 guides, and 1 ticket seller working out of a trailer on Lancashire Boulevard. From there, the studio tour expanded with fantastical one-of-a-kind Hollywood elements like the Burning House, which you see on your screen right now, and the Rock Slide. Those are both elements of the studio tour that used to exist in this portion of the studio that we're in right now, in the 1970s and 80s. You know, we thought by now that we might have hover trams, but these things are pretty cool too. You're currently on board one of our throwback style 60th anniversary glamour trams. It's one of our super trams dressed up in a throwback style. Now, this candy striping that's on top of these glamour trams is actually designed by Harper Goff, who is a well-known Hollywood art director, worked on movies like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory for Paramount Pictures. Now in 1983, so we actually upgraded to super trams. It allowed us to carry more guests and experience more thrills. And in 2000 is when we added these onboard video screens so now you can see your tour guide. It also turns the trams into movie theaters on wheels. Speaking of movies and movie theaters, as we went down our timeline, you might have noticed some of the many thousands of titles that have filmed here over the years at Universal Studios. One of those is our 11th Academy Award Best Picture. It's at the end of the line, the newest addition to our timeline. That would be Christopher Nolan's film Oppenheimer. Won Universal Studios our 11th Academy Award for Best Picture. They filmed sequences from Oppenheimer in soundstage number 19. That's where they filmed all the Oval Office scenes. Now, that's just one example of a set that can be built inside of a soundstage. We're about to come up on some sound stages over here off to your left-hand side. On your right-hand side is actually Super Nintendo World. But in this portion of the studio in the 1960s and 70s is where guests could visit the office of Oscar-winning costume designer Edith Head, and in the 1980s visit the Preview Center, which is what housed the very popular stop, the Special Effects Show. Soundstage 7 and 8 are actually open right now, folks. Take out your phones. You can see inside of Soundstage 7 and 8. That's currently where they're filming the 3rd season of Bel-Air. It's the dramatic retelling of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You can watch the first 2 seasons of that show on our streaming service, Peacock. And speaking of Bel-Air, we actually have some cast members for the show. They're with us right now. What's up, guys?
We're leaving the theme park behind and entering the front locker where real Hollywood magic is made. Now, we're inside the sound stages that surrounds us and create any kind of environment for screen communities.
For the past 60 years, studio tour visitors have driven right by these buildings, and inside these walls, the sets from your favorite TV shows and movies have transported audiences anywhere the imagination can take you, even to a palatial mansion in Bel-Air.
When we film Bel-Air, we love coming out of the sound stages and seeing the trams filled with excited guests as they drive by.
So, keep an eye out.
You never know who
or what
you'll see in the studio.
What a special treat. The soundstage door to 14 is also open. Take a look inside of there. They're currently using that for Bel-Air at the moment. But in the past, that's been used in movies like Jurassic Park. That's where they built the inside of Mission Control in Apollo 13. Ron Howard's film, another Ron Howard film, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. They built the top of Mount Crumpet inside of the same soundstage. It's also where they built the inside of the Cloud 9 Mega Mart for the TV series Superstore. Now, speaking of NBC comedies and TV shows that have filmed here over the years, like Superstore, many of these TV shows actually filmed inside of the sound stages on your right-hand side. Currently, they're home to shows like Based on a True Story. It's Kaylee Cuoco's show on our streaming service Peacock. They're in their 2nd season now. But in the past, these sound stages were used for TV shows like Coach, The Jeffersons, One Day at a Time, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And, oh, hold on. Anybody else see these minions over here on your right? Oh, jeez. Looks like they're up to no good. You know, we have a lot of minions here on the back lot because Illumination Entertainment, the creators of those minions, actually have their offices in our bungalows. That's the next portion of the studio we're visiting. Here to welcome us to the bungalows is the founder and CEO of Illumination.
These bungalows were used as dressing rooms to the stars of Hollywood's golden age. Now, they're used as offices where some of Hollywood's top directors, writers, and producers work their magic to get a production ready, including my company, Illumination. At Illumination, we've made some of the most successful animated films in box office history, including Despicable Me, The Lorax, The Secret Life of Pets, Minions, Sing, The Grinch, and the Super Mario Brothers movie. And the team is hard at work again as we launch our next film, Despicable Me 4. I know you love your dada. Say it.
Yeah, of course he loves you. He just doesn't show it on his face. Or with his body language.
We've had some really good sequences in Despicable Me movies. The heist of the Honey Badger is now officially my favorite.
So definitely keep an eye out for Despicable Me 4 coming to theaters this July. Now, the bungalows over here on your left-hand side are also home to some really big production companies like Mark Flat Productions. They not only produce Wicked on Broadway, the Broadway musical, but also they're producing a new Wicked movie starring Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, set to come out in theaters this November. These sound stages on the left are going to be the final ones that we see here in the front lots. They're currently home to 2 different productions. The second season of Lopez vs. Lopez, and a new mockumentary-style comedy called St. Dennis Medical. Now, they were just filming here the last time I was out here. Oh, looks like they're on a break right now. But St. Dennis Medical is a mockumentary-style comedy set in a hospital. It's from the creators of Superstore and American Auto. And now, they've been filming inside of this soundstage over here. Inside of soundstage number 26. They built their interior sets in the soundstage, and then they had their actors film the exterior scenes where we're headed next. That would be our backlot sets, specifically our metropolitan sets, where productions can recreate any city in the world. Here to welcome us to the backlot is again, Jimmy Fallon.
We're about to cross the imaginary boundary onto the back lot, where we have exterior sets for many outdoor scenes. Over the last 60 years, studio tour guests have seen these locations turned into big cities, quiet suburbs, even that guy's hometown. Yeah, that guy. For countless movies and TV shows. This is Universal's Metro Sets.
Thanks, Jimmy. First, we're going to see Brownstone Street. That's over here off to your right-hand side. You might notice they're currently under construction right now. This is actually going to be the exterior for the St. Dennis Medical Building, the main location in that television series. Now, Brownstone Street has also been seen in movies like Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, and Bruce Almighty. But where we're headed next is probably the most iconic portion of our backlot. It'd be Courthouse Square, otherwise known as Hill Valley.
Welcome to the Courthouse Square. These sets were used to create Hill Valley and the Back to the Future films.
And they represented multiple time periods, 1985, 1955, and the far, far distant future, 2015. To this day, this is one of the most popular sets on the Universal Studio Tour.
We had a lot of fun making those films here on the lot. I wonder what it'd be like to go back to those days. If only we had a time machine.
Hey everybody, do you think we can get this tram up to 88 miles per hour? See you in the future.
Did Leah Thompson say she was looking for a time machine? Because I think we found one. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a time machine out in front of the iconic clock tower from Back to the Future. This is a great photo opportunity, folks. Now, the clock tower looks a little bit different today because it became so synonymous with the Back to the Future franchise. It needed to be changed, specifically for one production, CBS's Ghost Whisperer, starring Jennifer Love Hewitt. They created a false brick wall and placed it in front of the clock tower, which is still there to this day. It's just behind those wooden doors underneath the City Hall sign. Now, most of these sets within Courthouse Square remain from when they were originally built in the 1940s. And that's also when they were seen in the very first episode ever, The Twilight Zone. But where we're headed next, this portion of our back lot is considerably newer, redesigned and rebuilt in 2008. Here to tell us a little bit more about a Universal Studios studio tour legend that used to be here. There's another legend in my book. That would be Jack Black.
And so fact, did you know the Metro sets were once the home to Hollywood's biggest star? Right here is where the original studio tour King Kong attraction resided from 1986 until 2008. He stood 30 feet tall and weighed in at 13,000 pounds. Over the years, millions of guests got to meet King Kong face to face as he shook the tram. So close you could feel his hot banana bread. Is that it? I believe that's my last line, and then the tram moves on to the next thing.
Yep, that's exactly what we're going to do, Jack. Now, you might recognize New York screen where we are right now from several superhero films like Marvel's Captain America, the First Avenger, Sony's Spider-Man 2, and The Amazing Spider-Man. In addition to those superheroes, we also have ninjas that frequent the street of New York. For American Ninja Warrior, they built those massive obstacle courses for the show. So keep an eye out, folks, for some studio tour history. It'll be on your right-hand side. 2 retired studio tour attractions, the Collapsing Bridge and the Runaway Train. Now, the Collapsing Bridge was a mechanical effect that the trams used to cross. The hydraulic support beams would split and the bridge would seem to collapse. The Runaway Train was originally located in our western sets. It would come hurtling towards the tram and then come to a screeching halt. Now, these are both retired effects that were on the studio tour over 50 years ago. Now, during King Kong 360 3D, did anybody notice our tram making an appearance on screen? Yeah, there was a moment when our tram was ripped on the camera by the Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's not the only time that our famous Universal Studios trams have been on camera. In fact, they're world famous for a reason. They've been seen in movies, TV shows, late night talk shows over the years. Now, this is the very first version of our tour vehicle, the Glamour Tram. That's actually what our tram today is an homage to. In 1983, that's when they upgraded to those super trams, and that's what they used to look like. And then since then, we've had the newest version of our tour vehicle, the electric tram. Ah, geez, that is one stressed out tour guide. Poor guy. Now we're heading into a portion of our Metropolitan set that's called London Square. The set is currently left behind from a new TV series starring Ted Danson. It's called The Classic Spy. It's got this lovely pergola over here. So this is all remnants of a set that's left behind from the show. That's from the creators of the Good Place, Parks and Recreation. So definitely keep an eye out for that as it comes to Netflix. And then, folks, coming up off to your right-hand side, we have some lovely artwork painted on the side of this wall. And it's from an artist by the name of Tristan Eaton. Tristan specializes in graffiti art. So everything that you see over here off to your right-hand side was created by one man using graffiti. Well, using spray paint, excuse me. Now, everything that you're seeing, these include our classic Universal monsters, the Wolfman, the Gillman, Frankenstein's monster, the Bride of Frankenstein, and of course, Dracula. One of those monsters this year, the Gillman from Creature from the Black Lagoon, is actually celebrating his 70th anniversary. That's right, 70 years of Creature from the Black Lagoon. It originally premiered in 3D 70 years ago. Off to your left-hand side, or off to your left-hand side. I can't do directions. That's number 30, soundstage number 30. It's currently home to the 25th season of The Voice, the same competition series. It's filmed here for all 25 seasons, and they're currently prepping for season number 26 at the moment. It's right next to this large body of water called the Hollywood Ocean. Now, this body of water was actually used for some principal photography from Creature from the Black Lagoon as the Black Lagoon. But it was also home to another studio tour attraction, that being the Party of the Red Seas, which opened in 1973. It was based on the movie The Ten Commandments, which is a Paramount picture. Now here, the star of the movie, Charlton Heston, actually appeared to part the waters for the guests. The Glamour trams would drive right through and give everybody on board a sea-level view.
This tram is overloaded. Tell them they can walk on water as part of the tour.
Now there's also been exploding water mines, torpedoes, and prop submarines as a part of the action in the lake. Now if you want to see what our Hollywood ocean looks like as the Black Lagoon, just take a look on your screen. Here's a jump scare warning. Ah! That's the Gill Man. So just one of the many monsters in our long legacy of monster movies here at Universal Studios that date all the way back to our silent film era when Universal was creating monster movies like Phantom of the Opera, Hunchback of Notre Dame. Now, Lon Chaney brought, of course, the character of the Hunchback to life inside of these very classic sets that we're about to enter right now. That would be Little Europe. It's the birthplace of many classic Universal monster. Now the legacy of Universal monsters will continue with the Dark Universe opening at Universal's Epic Universe in 2025. One of my favorite TV shows, that being The Good Place.
You, Eleanor Shellstrom, are dead.
Cool.
This location, the afterlife, come on. I have never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here. And Good Place fans, we got good news for you. Just for our 60th anniversary, we recreated several of these locations, including this yogurt shop you see on your screen. It's directly in front of you. Looks almost exactly the same that it does whenever they filmed the pilot or the very first episode of The Good Place here. So just imagine out on that patio set, we had Kristen Bell, William Jackson Harper, and Darcy Carden filming this scene. Going to the bad place.
Maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
And Good Place fans will probably also recognize this railway station over here on your left as it does play a very pivotal role in the show. Now, I love Little Europe because it's been home to some of my favorite movies that have filmed here over the years. From Disney Studios, this is where they filmed a couple different Pirates of the Caribbean films. It was seen as 2 different locations, used as the Isle of Tortuga and Port Royal. It was also seen in The Princess Diaries 2, A Royal Engagement, starring Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews. It was seen as the fictional country of Genovia in that film. In fact, the route that we just took in the opposite direction is the parade route that Anne Hathaway's character takes in that film, walking a young Abigail Breslin down the street to Kelly Clarkson's hit song at the time, which was Breakaway. Now, it was also seen in Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, starring Brandy and Whitney Houston, used in the Muppets movie, starring Jason Segel and Amy Adams, and Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog going to date in Paris. They're actually having their date here in Little Europe. Now, of course, the earliest history of Little Europe and what it was originally built for were those classic monster movies. So in the earliest days of our studio, you really would never see Little Europe without a crowd of an angry mob with pitchforks and lighted torches, kind of like these on your screen. Just come in and just see what it looks like when they're on a break. So please remain seated, hang on tight to your stuff, because they're going to be out of here in just a second, right? We don't want to get up and start touching stuff, because I promise you they've noticed that stuff started. Right. You know what? It's California. It happens all the time. Wouldn't worry about it. Oh no. Oh no. Hold on, everyone! do have a beach here on property. Now listen, it is Amity Island from the movie Jaws, and I know that they had a shark problem here, but don't worry, they figured that out, all right? They figured it out. The shark is caught. He's hanging up over here, so don't worry, all right? Now, just to be safe, we have the guy. His name is George. He's in the water right now, and we are super good friends. What's that? Oh no. Looks like that's a fin in the water. Looks like they caught the wrong shark. Again. Well, as long as everybody remains seated, we should be okay. Oh no, Jace, I forgot about George. Please, yell at him. George, get out of there. Oh, maybe he's okay. Oh. You know what? I forgot that George brought a bunch of juice boxes with him to lunch, and I guess they exploded down there. Look at that. We're gonna hide behind the stop. It's really safe. Those barrels look very heavy. Maybe we can just hide behind them. Oh no. What kind of barrels are those? They're barrels of gasoline! You know, in all this excitement, I lost the shark. Has anyone seen the shark? He'll do a trick for you. Let's see if it works. Here we go. Yes! Look, he's doing it! He's doing the trick! Bruce is the only shark in the world that can do the backstroke. And look, he's really good at it too. Really good. Now, our Jaws attraction has been here on the studio tour since 1976, the year after the film premiered. It's been a classic here on the studio tour ever since. Everybody give it up for our Flash Flood! Now, you might recognize that practical effect for the movie Big Fat Liar. Check it out. We'll see about that. You know, 6 Points is a great example of those two different kinds of sets that we talked about a little bit earlier on the tour, the facades and practical sets. So I'll challenge you. As we're heading out of here, take a peek behind the windows here in 6 Points, as well as the rest of the sets as we continue the rest of the tour. See if you're able to tell which of these buildings are facades and which ones are practical sets. Some make it a little bit easier to figure out than others, right? Now, folks, we're going to do a little bit of backtracking here on the studio tour. We're going to go past our Amity Island attraction again, but that does give us an opportunity to do a little bit more behind the scenes on how that attraction came to be. In fact, Universal Studios worked in partnership with the director of the movie Jaws, Steven Spielberg, on bringing that attraction to life. Here he is to tell you a little bit more about that.
The Jaws ride was almost the inevitable result of the size of the box office when Jaws first opened in June of 1975. And that was really the first time I ever got involved in the creation of a ride. It was a great honor to be invited into a creative circle of tremendous designers at Universal. They were trying to figure out how to replicate what the movie had done to audiences in a real way by building a physical shark that would come out of the water and terrify tourists as they were sitting in the traffic. And the most amazing thing about the Jaws ride is it is exactly as it was from the time it was first placed on the Universal lot. There have been tweaks, of course, over the years, but it is essentially what the designers and myself all envisioned and created.
Now, folks, we are going to head into some active production now. So I'm going to hop off the mic, but you're more than welcome to take pictures and videos. Just keep an eye out on your left-hand side as we approach Colonial Street, as that's where they're filming today. I'll see you in a minute. And that was Steven Spielberg, again, giving a little behind-the-scenes story about his experiences taking a studio tour as a high school kid. Now we're heading into one of the sets from his film, the 2005 film War of the Worlds. Welcome to the plane crash site. Now, this is probably our most elaborate set that we have here on property. It features a real 747 plane, which was chopped into several key pieces and then brought over here all the way from the Mojave Desert on a fleet of flatbed trucks. Now, in its journey from the Mojave Desert all the way here, they removed the top portion of this plane Not really for any aesthetic or storyline reasons, but mainly because that was the only way that this plane was going to fit underneath the overpasses on its way here. Now it's missing, again, the top portion. That was an aesthetic choice, again, made by Steven Spielberg and his production designer, Rick Carter. Here they are to give you a little behind the scenes on the War of the Worlds plane crash site.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around the vision that Steven had.
When we first began to sit down to talk about the War of the Worlds, I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. Keep doing good. Keep rising. Listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Stay closed. Robbie, get in. Get in.
The town of Whoville was built in this same spot as well. Now, from some of our most elaborate sets to what many would call the icon of the studio tour, since we opened in 1964, there has truly been one structure that has been here and has stood the test of time, and that would be this little house coming up over here off to your right-hand side. It's none other than the Psycho house from the Alfred Hitchcock Psycho franchise. Now, originally, the Psycho house was built as just a facade, so only 2 walls. That's what you see on your screen. That's all that they built for the movie Psycho. Now, of course, we're looking at the Psycho house now. There's more walls than that, right? They built them later throughout time to fully complete the Psycho house, as there were more Psycho movies in the universe of Psycho. Now, one person who's still here since they filmed the original movie, that'd be Mother. Now you see her, she's up in her window. She's very, very fond of this particular room in the Psycho house. I heard a rumor that she's actually still there to this day. She doesn't get out of the house much. So when we pull forward here in just a minute, you might even be able to spot her.
They're probably watching me. Well, let them see what kind of a person I am.
Oh, yeah, there she is. Hey, Mother, how are you? You know, Mother has a really excellent view, so if I were her, I wouldn't get out of the house much either. Mother has almost a direct view of one of LA's most iconic landmarks. It's coming up over here on your right-hand side, that being the Hollywood sign. Well, this is our official scale replica of the Hollywood sign. For the first few decades of the studio tour, one of our hallmarks was a visit to Prop Plaza, where guests could disembark and enjoy once-in-a-lifetime photos of their favorite characters, vehicles, and props of some of their favorite movies. Well, guess what? Just for our 60th anniversary, we have brought that opportunity back. So folks, you are now going to have the opportunity to actually step onto the Universal Studios lot. Not only that, but you get the opportunity to take a picture with that iconic Hollywood sign. You get to take a picture with one of our original last remaining glamour trams.
Not only do Nope and Oppenheimer share the same production designer, but also the same cinematographer as well. Here to welcome us to the Jupiter's Flame sets is the director, writer, and producer of Nope himself, Mr. Jordan Peele.
Movie magic only happens when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible notion and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Flame, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky Juke Park. Over there, look into the winking room and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Show. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? A little further down, you can see the brand new Sparkle Lasso experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy from the old rush frontier town lies a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center of the hotspot.
sure what's going on. Hold on. Oh no. Oh, this is not good. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, good. I really did not want to meet Jean Jacket today, so it's probably best that we get out of there. And now, folks, we're heading to a part of our studio that once held an attraction called the Doomed Glacier Expedition, better known as the Ice Tunnel. It was featured in an episode of The $6 Million Man, starring Lee Majors and Andre the Giant as Bigfoot. Now, the tram would climb to an imaginary elevation of 12,000 feet, and the only way back to the theme park was through the iced